Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I'm your host, Garrick King. Today we have Micah Dank back with us. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just got back from the Bahamas last week.
Wow.
And had to pick up, we had to board our dogs for the very first time ever. And when we picked them up, all three of them are sick. So we don't know if it's kennel cough or what's going on, but I mean, it was a great trip, but I feel guilty for having to board them when we've, never did it before. So it was new experience for them. And I don't know that we'll ever be doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get started, I'm terrible about doing this. I want to go ahead and give you a chance to just let people know where they can reach you. If you want to talk about your YouTube channel, anything that's going on with your books, anything like that, just give you the opportunity to do that up front.
Okay, so I have 6 books out so far. My 7th one is with the publisher. That's going to be coming out within a month. They're already starting to edit it and work on some stuff. The 8th book is with them too. I'm starting to come up with ideas for the 9th. I have a kid's book out called A is for Aries. It's for 6 to 11-year-olds. It's Introduction to Astrology and Astrotheology for 6 to 11-year-olds. I'm also going to be doing a graphic novel with podcast host Rex Bear. He's hired me to write it. So they basically have, he's going to send me all the information that he wants in it, and I just have to come up with the dialogue and stuff. Wow. So there's that. My Twitter is Real Mr. Dank, spell out Mr. My Facebook and Instagram is Micah Dank. And I have a YouTube channel, Micah Dank, where I have all my work on astrotheology, astrology, and the hidden codes in the ancient texts, in the ancient holy texts, I call them, because it's not just the Bible.
Awesome. Yeah, I noticed your subscribers are starting to climb really quick.
Yeah, that's what. Awesome. It's been pretty awesome.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, I am super excited to show you this this material today, because it's almost as though I have found a code within a code. And the stuff that's getting revealed through this is extraordinary. And I think and I've said this many times in the past with the other material, that it's at a point now that it's beyond coincidence. And I think now it's even more so. I think it's going to be hard for people to even refute this information at all.
Right.
So let me go ahead and share my screen with you.
Okay.
And share. Okay. Are you able to see everything just fine?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me explain to you what I've done here. I have taken all of the numbers that were generated by the 1111 matrix code. And I believe I was just messaging you one day and talking about how I'd watched a video about the Tor codes, and they were talking about something known as equidistant letter sequencing, which is what they use.
Did you ever get the book, the Bible? Did you ever get Michael Drosnin's The Bible Code?
I have them in my cart. I just hadn't placed the order yet because I didn't want them to show up when we were on vacation. But I will be placing the order this week.
I think there's 3 of them right now, but I mean, you can get the gist of it from one, but it's mind blowing. So you're going to want to read the rest.
Right. And I did read online where he has actually passed away.
Drosnin?
Yeah. Yeah. So
gotcha.
Unfortunately.
One interesting thing too. I was just thinking about this with the Bible code versus your work. In this equidistance lettering and everything, they found a pattern. One of the doctors was his name was Eliyahu Rips. Okay, that was one of the Jewish theologians that was working on this Bible code. Because Michael Drosnin, I believe he's just I honestly, I think he's just a columnist, or he's just a news guy that came across a story. I don't think he's actually involved in it. So you had the main scientist, Eliyahu Rips, and they actually found a code, Eliyahu Rips, in it. And that reminded me of your code when they found Garrick King, because they do have their names in them in there
Right.
too. So I just wanted to let you know you're not alone when you found that.
Right.
That's been discovered before.
Yeah. 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 Well, and so what I was doing, I was watching a video called, I think it was called the Torah codes on YouTube, which they were talking about the equidistant letter sequencing. And when I was talking to you about it just through, Instagram, I was under the impression at the time that it was leading towards a binary code, because every double digit number seemed to come back to some ones and zeros. Well, eventually it ran out. It stopped doing it. And I thought, well, okay, that's odd. And it didn't seem to go anywhere. Like the binary didn't seem to translate into anything. So, but then the more I began to look at it, and this is what I did. So I took all the numbers from the first sequence that I did way back when, and I lined them up in like a Word document, just one right after the other, so they would read just like a book. Then I went through and
that's how the Old Testament is supposed to be read.
Correct.
It's not supposed to be broken down this way. It's literally supposed to be a long string of letters. In fact, the Hebrew Bible or the Hebrew alphabet, okay, or alphabet or alphabeta in Latin, or alphabet in Hebrew, or alphabet in Greek, and whatever you want to call it, the ABCs in Hebrew, it's not actually a language, it's a code. As you get into Kabbalah and you start to realize certain things, it's not actually a language. Okay. So wow. It's important to remember that too. But anyway, so you place them out. Is that what I'm looking at right here, where you just place them all out into one?
What you're looking at right here is where I've laid them all out. And then what I did is because the original numbers that were generated, they all reduced to the number 4. So 4 is what I used as the equidistant spacing. So I selected the first number and then counted over 4 and selected the next number, counted over 4, selected the next number, and so on. Removed everything in between. So what you're looking at now is every 4th number out of the 1111 matrix code sequence.
You know what that reminds me of? That's interesting. Have you ever heard of the Caesarean code?
I've heard the name, but I haven't looked into it.
So the Caesarean code is something that came up with Julius Caesar. It was an encryption, okay? And it basically means is like your letter is G, so it's G, G, H, I, J, K, okay? So instead of G, it would be a K. What it is it represents a letter, but it's every 4th letter. So if you have an A, right, or if you want to represent an A, you have to use the letter E.
Okay.
So it's interesting that you have every 4 here, because that's what the Caesarean code is. It's every 4th letter.
Wow. Okay, that's
interesting. It's not every 4th letter. It's you have a letter, you count 4 spaces, that's your code.
So it's like it's a cipher essentially.
The cipher, correct? It's a cipher.
Awesome.
It's every 4th. Yeah.
That's cool. That is cool. I'll have to look into that. So after doing that, I sat down and was looking at the numbers and trying to see if there was any sort of patterns that, I could see. Because for some reason, I was reminded of an episode of the X-Files where this kid or a person was being abducted and they were writing out binary code, just ones and zeros. And when all these papers were laid out, I think it was Mulder was like at the top of the stairs looking down, and he realized all the ones and zeros formed the face of an alien. So that's what I was just envisioning in my head, like some sort of picture was going to start coming out of these numbers. And as you can see on the screen, it actually has in an odd way. But I began to realize there are sequences taking place here, repeating sequences. So at the very beginning, see if I can zoom in here, we automatically start with the number 37.
Right.
And then there's this huge sequence of numbers here in orange. And then it goes into the sequence that's in blue, where it's 91000010. Then it goes into the sequence here in yellow, and it runs across. And then we get back to the same sequence of 91000010. And then a sequence of numbers, and then it does it again. And again, and again, and so on. Now, what's interesting, I've taken these numbers.
Why did you change the colors?
To match up, you'll see here in just a second. Because
okay.
these are, like, when I click this, I just want to show people that these numbers are being selected, and this is the value of those numbers. So
Gotcha,
232.
gotcha.
So what I've done, I took all those numbers starting with the 91000010 and separated them out like this. This is what's interesting. This sequence of numbers going across, they all look identical, but the ones in yellow are different from the ones in this pink color. And these are different from the ones in this sort of fuchsia color. Although they look identical, but they're not. All the ones in yellow are identical. All the ones in this pink are identical. And all the ones down here in this fuchsia color are identical. But here's where the differences start coming in. So this line right here, we have 4 and 4. 4 comes all the way down, and then here at the very bottom, it turns into 3. And we have 3, 3, 3. This line, it's all 5s coming down. Then we get 6, 6, 6. Then this row, we have 7 and 7, and then it's 6s all the way down. And right here, we have 22, or 2 and 2, sorry, and then 3s all the way down. These two in yellow are palindromes. They are the same forwards and backwards. These are the only two that are the same forwards and backwards. But what's interesting is every single line totals up to 232, even though the numbers change. So with that being said, starting, and it's weird how this all fits in the way that it does. So this very first line right here equals 171, which in Greek is the value given to the word again. So I've talked about a reset, things starting over, and it seems to be suggesting that it's starting over again. Then we have the blue lines, the 91000010. All of those totaled equal 99, which is the value in Greek given to Trinity of God. And then this one, as you can see here, how it highlights on the screen, and this one, these are the ones that are palindromes, perfectly the same number forwards and backwards. Equals 232, and in Hebrew, that is the value given to the phrase, the word of the Lord.
Right.
And it repeats over and over and over. All of those have the value of 232. Then we get to this line here, which is the value of 84, which in Hebrew equals I am that I am. And then right after it, we have another sequence that's also 84. It's exactly the same. In Hebrew, I am that I am. Right after that, in between the number 37 and this 37, we get this line that's the value is 212, which in Hebrew is the value given to the word the light. And then after that, in Greek, we get this line, which has the value of 165 and equals the alpha high. So it was interesting to me that we have this strange sequence of numbers, this pattern, and they all fit perfectly, one right after the other.
Right.
And then it starts getting down to this point, and this is where a triangle starts to form. So this blue line right here.
More of a pyramid.
It is.
It's more of a pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a pyramid. Close out of that. Sorry. So we get this line right here. It has the value of 49. And in Hebrew, that's the value of the Lord lives. And then the actual
Can I
triangle.
jump in on 49 real quick?
49? Yep.
Yeah, can I jump in on the number 49? It's
Oh, yeah.
significance?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the Buddhists, they have a 7-day mourning period for 7 days. That's 49 days. In Judaism, you have something called the Omer, where you count the Omer. It's called Lag BaOmer. You count the Omer. That's a 49-day period. The Buddhists also said that it takes 49 days to reincarnate into your new body. And you know what's interesting about that? Do you know what happens on the 49th day of gestation in a woman?
No.
Because we have 3D sonograms now, so we can see it. The pineal gland becomes visible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the ancients knew all this stuff. 49 is a very sacred number.
Okay, it's interesting that you say the reincarnation thing, because that seems to come up because we get a value later on where it talks about the resurrection.
Mhm.
So that's so interesting. Okay. So the actual triangle, the pyramid, has a value of 177, and that gives us in Hebrew the Garden of Eden. And then right here, this line going up and down right here is the number 33, which is supposed to be the age of Jesus at the time of his crucifixion.
Right.
I later learned also in Hebrew, it is the value given to the words live in love.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 33 here, and then right next to it, this red square has the value of 105, and in Greek, that's the value given to the word resurrection.
Right.
Below it, in orange, we have 88, and in Greek, that's the value given to the word shroud.
Yeah.
Next to that,
88's an important number too. You have a lot of churches that call themselves the number 888 because 888 in Greek is Christos.
Right.
It's Christ.
Correct.
You double 888, you get 1776, which is the birth of our independence, which is the beginning of the Illuminati. There's a lot of numerology going on around that.
Right. And actually, I don't think it's Christ. I think it's Jesus that's 888.
Iesus, you're right. It's not Christ. It's Iesus.
Yeah.
Because there was no J until 1534. It's IEOUSOSOS or whatever it is. Yeah, Iesus.
Yes, and 888 will actually play into this in just a little bit. So right here, this kind of bluish color, we have 131, which in Hebrew is Jesus of Nazareth, but also in Greek, it's palindrome, which is interesting because we have these two numbers up here that are perfect palindromes.
Right.
And then strangely, right next to it, this green section has the value of 222. And in Greek, literally is the phrase palindrome of the Lord.
Wow.
And then next to that, 232, we saw it again up here, the word of the Lord. This gray section has the value of 104. And in Greek equals my blood. And then this section right next to the triangle, the pyramid, 125 in Greek is the word of God. So we have the word of the Lord and the word of God.
Right.
The other side in Greek is Christ, which you had just mentioned. And that's the value of 118. Next to that, we have the number 65, which in Hebrew is my Lord. Next to that, we have the number 84, which we've already looked at, is I am that I am. So it's repeating these phrases again. Next to that, this sort of pinkish section has the value of 111, and in Hebrew, that gives us the beginning of wisdom. Next to that, this blue section, image of my face. So I thought all of this was interesting because we're talking about the shroud, we're talking about the resurrection, image of my face. It made me start thinking of the Shroud of Turin.
Right.
But also, if we're looking at Jesus Christ being the Son, S-U-N, could also be meaning images of the Son. Next to that, this green section, and it has the value of 172, and that literally spells out the Greek names, I guess, for the letters for iota, which is the number 9. And what's interesting about that is when you come back over here and you start looking at these sections here. Oh, and another thing I wanted to point out is the lines that are in red, that's where the number changes. When you look at this, what does it look like?
1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah, looks like the number 11, 11. So when you total all of these up, here it's 99. And of course, 99 is 18, reduces to 11. 630 is this line. That's 9 as well. Here we have 288, that's 16, 17, 18. 1 and 8 is 9. All of these reduce to 9. So I just thought that was an interesting little connection there. Now, this light blue section, 145 in Greek, gives us the Eden paradise. So we've already seen the Garden of Eden, and now we're getting the Eden paradise. Now, this whole section here, this is why I have this number in white, but it has the value of 999. And it basically stretches over all of these and is Trinity of the Messiah in Hebrew. And then if you simply remove this first line here and just look at this other portion, we get 963, the mirror opposite of 369, which in the Jewish gematria gave us the truth codex, Almighty God's code reader, and only the chosen can see. Now, just this gray portion right here in Greek gave us the golden rule. And in Hebrew, I am that I am, which is 543 in the standard cipher of gematria. I think it's the ordinal that's 84. But what's interesting about the number 181 is when you take 181 times 3, the Trinity, you get 543. I am that I am. So it's deeper encoded there. When I was showing this to my brother and we saw this line up here, the alpha high, my brother says, well, where's the omega? And I said, well, I have no idea, but considering omega is the end, and this is a huge ass string of numbers, it's probably somewhere towards, the end. Well, strangely enough, it pops up right here in this yellow line, has the value of 45, and in Greek is simply omega. Now, this line stretching right here in brown comes all the way from the side and butts up right to the very edge of the triangle or the pyramid. Has the value of 131. In Hebrew equals Jesus of Nazareth, and in Greek equals palindrome. The opposite side in green has the value of 124, and we get in Greek the word apocalypse. And then strangely, this whole entire section right here, we get the word sanctuaries. Now, I want to point out this green line going across right here has the value of 333, the number that started all of this. And all of this fits perfectly above this line. Now in this next section, this line has the value of 333, and line 50 has the value of 333. So for all of this to fit perfectly within that, I think is beyond coincidence. Because this star butts right up to that line, and the bottom of it butts right up to this line. And as you can see, the gray portion helps make up the cross symbol that we see here in the middle in yellow. But when we start looking at this portion here, we get the sections here inside the star equals 923. And in Hebrew, that's the value given to the phrase, the information is revealing. And that's exactly what this is doing. This middle portion, including the yellow cross, is 972. And in Hebrew, that's the value given to the phrase, how to destroy the world. And when you look at those two together, it seems to be forming a sentence. The information is revealing how to destroy the world. Now, this section, or all the sections that make up the gray portion that actually turn this into a cross, strangely, again, has the value 963, the mirror opposite of 369. In Hebrew, it gives us in calculation of the end. And in English, or the Jewish gematria, the event. I believe this is the event that I've talked about in 2058, because it actually literally will say this here in just a moment. Now, the top portion, the triangle that makes up the top portion of the Star of David, or the Star of Creation, has the value of 395. And in Hebrew, that gives us the word heavens. And it's literally pointing up to the sky, to the heavens. The lower triangle, the one pointing down, gives us the value of 344. And in Hebrew, that is the value given to the words, the sign. Just the green portion inside this is 612. And in Hebrew, that gives us testament. Now, a testament is something that's meant to be true. The cross in the center, which we've seen this symbol many times, we're seeing it on the outside of the star as well, has the value of 360. And in Hebrew, that is the value given to the words creator of the world. Then there's a line going straight down the middle of this, has the value of 130. And in Greek, we get the phrase images of Jesus, which was interesting because up here we got image of my face. And then this portion on the side has the value of 184. In Hebrew, that gives us the phrase to the next world. And on the opposite side, we get 186. And in Hebrew, that gives us redemption of the world. And then starting up here, this purple line, 134 is the value. In Hebrew, that gives us knowledge of redemption and wheel of life. I spoke of a sun flare, and what are the chances that right below this, the section here, is 149. In Hebrew, that's the value given to the words sun flare. Next to that, this yellow section has the value of 49. In Hebrew, that gives us the Lord liveth. Strangely, next to it, this green section has the value of 104. And in Hebrew, we get the word hell. And next to that, this section is 85, and in Hebrew, that gives us earth. So if a sun flare was to leap out and destroy the earth, it would be like hell on earth. So let me move this down a little bit here because we're going to run out of room. Okay. And then strangely, also, I think right here at 71 is the value of this section, and that gives us the Lord. Right next to it, 109, and that's the value in Hebrew given to the word revelations. Next to that, we have the number 88 again, which in Hebrew gives us Son of God. And then 189, let's see. Oh, 189, that is the value given to this entire section right up here, the one that is hell and earth combined. And in Hebrew, that's the value given to the phrase, today redemption has come 100%. Now, here's where it starts to get spooky. So this entire orange portion right here has the value of 1,858. In Hebrew, that's the value given to the phrase 20,058 final end.
That goes back to that 2058 that we were talking about a couple episodes ago.
Yes. And then right next to it in orange, this section right here, 30 has the sum of 302. In Hebrew, we get final end. Right below the section where it says 20,058 final end in purple has the value of 139, and we get the phrase, discover the secret of this. Now, here's what's interesting. When you convert my name, Garrick King, into Hebrew, it gives the value of 477. And that's the value of this section here. My name literally crosses over 20,058 final end and discover the secret of this. It does it twice. In Jewish gematria, my name has the value of 256. And we see that right here. Now, starting over here, we get the number 153 in Hebrew. That equals I am God. Right next to it, 119, a message of the end. Now, the number 333 also gives us that same phrase, message of end. And then I talked about if a solar flare was to, jump out from the sun and, it would be like a giant hand swooping out and just wiping us off the planet. Right next to that, this little tiny portion has the value of 14, and in Hebrew simply is the word hand.
You think a solar flare could reach us?
If it was powerful enough, yeah. Yeah. Now, this purple portion right up here, 184 in Hebrew, we get this phrase, the code will be deleted and rewritten. That's very specific. And talking about a reset, that would make sense. The code's getting deleted and rewritten. Right below that, this line here has the value of 84, and we get several different words that have the same value. In Hebrew, we get reason, like the reason that this is happening. Then we get desecration, and the words the environment. Almost as if, what we're doing to our planet, what we're doing to ourselves, to each other. We're just desecrating it all. Below this, we get the number 342. And this is very interesting. 342 gives us several phrases as well. And I talked about if there was an event to take place in 2058, there is no way our government is going to make us aware of this until it's too late. And I mentioned that this could be the reason why they're building the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases. And 342 in Hebrew literally gives us the phrase, they will build shelters.
What?
Yes. We also get the phrase, the fear will be immense. We also get the phrase, a date has been set. And the last phrase is pain in January. Now, we're supposed to have like the last summer solstice solar eclipse in 2058. And then we're not supposed to have another one for nearly 200 years. So, and I have nothing proving this 100% other than just what is here on the screen. But if it was a solar flare, my thought is that it would take place around the time of the eclipse. So if the government was to come forward and say, hey, folks, we're aware that something's going to happen. We've built these bases. We can only take a handful of people. The rest of you are going to have to fend for yourself. That they would tell us in January and literally give us like 6 months to prepare. And that's why the fear will be immense.
Wow.
Now, again, over here, we get the number 33, which again goes back to the age of Christ at the time of his crucifixion. But we also get the phrase live in love. I just mentioned that earlier. Now, this is what's interesting about these next couple of phrases. It seems to be telling us that there may be a way out of this. If we could get the entire planet, that's the thing, trying to get everybody on the planet to think and act the same seems impossible. But the first phrase is live in love. Next to that is this section here, which has the value of 83, which in Hebrew gives us two phrases, without limit, and this is the power. So it's almost as though it's telling us live in love without limit. This is the power.
83 was the year I was born.
83?
Mm-hmm.
And 8 and 3 is 11.
Mm-hmm. And
Now,
you don't reduce 11.
No, you don't reduce 11. So, and then right next to this again is the number 33, live in love. And then right next to that is the value of 16, which is united. So when you look at all of this together, it's like it's saying live in love without limit. This is the power. Live in love, united.
Have you come across any 18s?
Not yet. Other than
Really?
the encoded sections, like where 9 and 9 is 18, or right here, 8 and 8 is 16, and then 2, 17, 18, things like that. That's where I've come across 18.
In Hebrew, 18 is a gematria number. It means love.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for 18 now going forward and see if that comes up. So right below that, this yellow section here, or no, sorry, it's over here, right here, has the value of 117, and we get, and he will redeem in Hebrew. This green section here has the value of 70, and we get the phrase speaking in code. And that's exactly what this is doing. It is speaking in this code. This portion here has the value of 55, and this one is the spooky one. This seems to be telling us what's going to happen if we do not all come together, if we do not come together and live in love as we should. So 55, very powerful number it appears to be, because in Hebrew it gives us the words sun.
There's Shamesh.
And then the earth, everything gone.
Right.
And when you read that together, it's like it's saying the sun, the earth, everything gone. Tying back to the code will be deleted and rewritten.
Wow.
All right. And then, and again, I talked about the hand, like a hand of God reaching out from the sun. And right below that, this section here, we get the value of 61. And in Hebrew, it's literally hand of God. And next to that, 34 in Hebrew, brought by hand. And then right here above it, I think there's a phrase in the Bible where Jesus says something like, I come with a sword, or I came with a sword.
I have
And
not come to bring peace, but have come to bring division among your house with the sword. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are the chances that this 125 in Hebrew equals I'm back with a sword? Also the same value given to the words doomsday. And then right next to that, this section here has the value of 116. And in Hebrew, 116 is the value given to the phrase, the beginning is the end. Now, we've talked about that before. 1111 produces the phrase, the beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. This purple section has the value of 377, and we get in Hebrew the phrase, I am Jesus, and I returned. Below that, we get the number 242 in Greek, the gospel of Jesus, and in Hebrew, for the good end to come. And then this darkish green has the value of 370. In Greek, we get the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And in Hebrew, the words of the living God. This green portion next to it has the value of 281, and we get several different phrases here. The first word is not Antarctic, but anarchic, like anarchy in Hebrew.
Right.
We also get the phrase, if the end is good, everything is fine. Almost as though it's going back to live in love without limit. This is the power. If everybody could do this and just come together, then the end is good and everything will be just fine. But if not, then it's time for our redemption. And then we get the word explosion in Hebrew. Now, this light turquoise color here and here,
Right.
it's the exact same shape on both sides, and strangely has the same values, 194, but different numbers in each section. And I've said this time and time again, this whole entire 1111 matrix code, all of this has all been by design. And what are the chances that 194 in Greek is the value given to the words the design. And in Hebrew, witness a miracle. And it happens twice on both sides. Now, see this top portion of the star that makes up this triangle?
Yeah.
When I actually was decoding this, the triangle actually continues to the bottom, has the value of 512. So as you can see, it highlights all of these numbers, it goes across the bottom, starts up, and then comes back up here. So what is so interesting about the number 512? Well, we talked about 888. 888 being Jesus in Greek. When you take
Right.
8 times 8 times 8, you get 512.
Wow.
And then remember how we had the word again up here, this orange portion? It appears
Yeah.
again right here. This line has the same value, 171, which in Hebrew, or sorry, yeah, no, Greek is 171 and is the word again. Now, what are the chances that all of this would fit so nicely and connect just like a puzzle within 2 lines that equal 3, 3, 3?
I'm just blown away.
And as you can
You know,
see,
it's amazing, Garrick, because I've rewatched our videos that we've done. I appreciate you having me on and explaining this to me. You know, I love your work. I know you love my work too.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out a way to put just one of these codes as like a Dan Brown type code in one of my books. They're too complicated. It doesn't translate.
yeah, it's very complicated.
It doesn't translate. It's insane. It's insane. I pride myself on being able to take the complicated and bring it down, but I for the life of me can't figure out how to do this.
It's
What is
so,
the Star of David? What is the number of the Star of David? All the blue.
let's see. So all of the blue. So that would be
The Star of David.
395 and 344. So 395 plus 344 is 739.
Wow.
Now, it would take me a little bit of time to go through here and select all these. I don't know what the value would be if you selected everything within the star. Well, so we have 739. We have that portion. So let's add 739 plus 612 plus 360. And then we would have the white portion, which I believe, yeah, is 923. $26.34. So I'd have to look and see, try to decode if that number 2634 produces any sort of phrase in Hebrew, Greek that would tie into all of this as well.
Okay. Try and do
So,
that.
Yeah, I'll do that and see what comes up. But here's what's interesting. So the code continues. I haven't released
Oh,
any
if
of
we're gonna
this
do
yet.
if we're gonna do another one, we're gonna have to do another episode.
Okay, that's good because I'm not finished decoding this portion here. But as you can see, we're getting a triangle. We're getting crosses again.
The pyramid.
A pyramid, yes. And we're getting more distinct phrases. And one of my favorites that I'll just tell you right now is when people talk about, oh, this is just coincidence. One of the phrases that comes up in this code right here in Hebrew is coincidence is God's ability to remain anonymous. And again, I just have to say, what are the chances like that all of this is coming through like this? I mean, literally taking all those numbers generated by the 1111 matrix code and selecting every fourth number is producing all of this.
What made you take the fourth number?
Because that's what 1111, I know that you're not supposed to reduce 11, but that is when you look at just the first number generated by the code, so it was 371074, it was the number 4 that guided me into figuring out that that is the number that you use to bring this number back to 1111. So the last 4 digits, 1074 plus 37 is 1111.
Yes.
So that's why I chose the number 4.
Well, then you got 1111, but you can add 11 and add 11 without reducing them. That brings you to 22. 22 reduces to 4. So there's ways you can go around without having to reduce 1111.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is fascinating. And I also like how it ties in with the Caesarean code, which I think you should look into.
Yes. Now that you've mentioned it, I definitely want to look into that because, this is just interesting. And I want to point out, I don't know if I've shown you this one yet or not, but the phrase, let me pull this up here real quick. I'm just going to go to gematrix.org. So I found another phrase that totals 1111 that includes my name. And that phrase is Garrick King is here. He has a purpose. Well, if I could spell. $1111. So is this my purpose was to discover this code, start cracking this code, revealing this code?
We just got to figure out, you just got to figure out to do what I did. You got to make it marketable.
Yeah. And it's it's so complex that I'm just like, oh my God, how do I begin to now start putting this into a book that people will understand?
Yeah.
And like you said, trying to translate it into a Dan Brown, it's impossible. It's too complex.
Yeah.
You would almost have to be sort of in an instruction book.
Yeah. You would have to have all these color prints. Holy shit. All right. So when are we going to do a follow-up?
As soon as I finish decoding this portion here, we can jump into it. As you can see, everything that's in white is portions I haven't decoded yet.
Right.
And there's patterns, as you can see here, that I've detected going all the way down.
Right.
These lines right here in red actually have the value of 369. So I'm interested to see what will take place between this row and this row.
Unbelievable.
What are the chances?
You got my number, sir. You've got my number, sir.
Yeah. No,
so reach out to me and let me know when we could do part 4.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely will.
I actually have to run because I got to make a call, but I will. You always just blow my mind. I can't. I'm waiting for that one easier code that I could put in, but these are all so complicated.
Well, maybe that'll happen here between the 369, because this looks like a short portion here.
Here's hoping. I may take an edible before my next one with you so that I can get into a different mindset.
It might help you channel in some deeper meaning.
Sounds good. Garrick, as usual, my friend, thank you for this.
I'll
talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks for talking with me today.
No problem. Take care.
You too, Micah. Thanks.